Hello and welcome to another Schematics Rimworld Basics. My name is Blind and I will be your host today. We will be covering the basics of production and what you should be working towards, as well as getting some electricity up and running in our colony. Right off the bat, I am constructing a wind turbine. Wind turbines are very effective, consistent electricity, depending on the wind, of course. They're not nearly as effective as a wood-burning generator, which we will be building later in another video. However, for now, we're simply going to use the wind turbine as it has some mechanics around it that I should probably explain. Wind turbines have two large squares in front and back. These areas cannot be blocked by tall items. This includes things like trees and rocks and many other building types such as walls. So for the sake of this, we will be placing it over top of our fields because our fields are very low to the ground and will not block the wind turbines. It's a very good idea to have a couple wind turbines as they do generate a lot of electricity consistently. But please be note, the wind can stop and you will run out of power sometimes. Which is why another one of our early priorities is building a research table and start researching batteries. For that, we're going to take advantage of this small shelter up to the north. Now that our pawns are patching up those walls and building a door, there's another mechanic I'd like to mention here. We need to remove those rocks from our future fields and out of the way of our wind turbine. We're going to build ourselves a dumping stockpile zone. This is very similar to a normal stockpile zone. However, the default priorities for it are set up for junk items to haul the rocks out of the way. So my pawns that were originally putting my stock back into my stockpile are now going to remove trash from my farm fields. Also, you'll notice up in the top, the building is just about done. We've got a roof on it, so we can move on to the next step. I've mentioned batteries a few times here. We're going to go into production and grab ourselves a research bench and get that constructing. If you'll notice, there are also several other materials I can make the research bench out of. Generally, you want to make it out of wood, especially if you're in a biome where there's a lot of trees. However, sometimes it is better to make it out of steel, if that's the resource that you have in abundance. We're also going to construct a stonecutter's table. The stonecutter's table is going to take those rocks we were just talking about and make them into bricks. These bricks can be used to make walls such as this building that you see here. They also do not burn and have a lot more HP than wood. We're going to be using a lot of those to construct our defenses and various items around the base. They're very important. We want to get a stockpile of them up and going as soon as possible. During the construction, I'm going to peek around and see what other things I can get done. I've noticed that there's still a lot of other boulders around the area and rocks, so we're just going to get those all quickly hauled into the dumping stockpile zone along with the rest of the rocks, just so that we can kind of clear out the area a little bit. Now that both of our tables are finished being constructed, we have a stonecutter's bench and a research bench. It's time to open up the research screen. So the research screen may look a little bit daunting at first, but trust me, it's not. There's generally an order that you can go through all of these, or you can kind of tackle them at whatever order you would like. For us, for this particular instance, we need electricity. So we're going to start by researching the battery. This is generally the first thing I do when I'm playing Crash Landed, regardless of where I am or what the situation looks like. Now it is time to talk work schedules. This is where things get a little bit scary for a lot of people. The work schedule by default is just a bunch of check marks on different skills. Right here we can see research at the end, which is what's happening right now. But I'm going to click on manual priorities. Manual priorities lets us be completely granular with our options and setup for our skills. It's nowhere near as bad as it looks. If you mouse over each individual skill, it will give you a detailed tooltip of what the skill does and what it is used for. And I will explain how the system works specifically. You can prioritize things from 1 to 4. 4 is the lowest priority, 1 is the highest priority. Pawns that are better at certain skills will be lighted a brighter color. Pawns with passion for skills will have the little flame in the bottom of the square. By default, if everything is set to the same number, they will do the jobs from left to right on this screen. So, if you need everything done, just make sure that you have set up and assigned your skills accordingly, whatever is the most urgent thing on your to-do list. In this case, we're going to use the manual priorities. Please note that the basic priorities do definitely work, and you can absolutely take advantage of those and use them, especially on lower difficulties when things aren't as mandatory to be done right now. Just a side note, I am setting up my Husky to be trained in all of the available skills. We will cover that in more detail at a later date. Now that everything is in order, we are going to create a stockpile for our bricks that we are going to be constructing at this stonecutter's table, and then storing bricks and steel from our main stockpile. The reason is these items can be stored outside and do not need to be kept with everything else. Splitting stuff up and keeping your stuff in specific areas is generally a good idea in Rimworld. It keeps stuff from getting stolen and usually keeps things balanced and organized. So what I'm doing here is I'm going into the details of storage for what is being stored in this stockpile. I'm setting it to stone blocks, all of them, and steel. And then I'm going to go over to our base stockpile and remove both of these items. This is so that everything will just get neatly transferred over and I won't need to worry about it. Now it is time to begin building bricks. So we are going to use the crafting skill for this on the work priorities that we talked about earlier. And it's very similar to every other crafting table in the game. You select the table and then click on bills, then click add bill. In this case, we are going to use make any stone blocks. You can, however, be more specific about a type of stone block, but it's just best to have a variety of everything. From there, we can set the stone blocks to make X number of these, do until we have X number, or just simply do forever. I'm going to click on the details build screen and I will show you the different buttons. It allows you to do things such as dropping them on the floor, take to the best stockpile, or assign a specific worker. None of this is really necessary in this case. This is more for later game stuff. We are going to make 350 any blocks, and this will allow us to have bricks and a good supply. So when we use them up, they will build more. When they use them up, we'll build more. We will always have bricks. Life will be good. Unless we run out of rocks on the map, but that's a different story. So now it's getting rather late, and this is generally a pretty good spot to be in. We're going to close out episode 3 here. I just wanted to say thank you very much to everybody who has been watching these. If you have any ideas or things you would like to see in future videos, please leave a comment down in the description. If you haven't seen schematics before, please check out our other videos. We produce talk show style content over a variety of topics. If you're interested in supporting these shows or supporting us financially, please go over to our Ko-fi and have a look at that. It's rather cheap fee, one-time fee, tip type deal. In the background, you'll see me using shift control to force create a couple of beds for my pawns so that they can have a good night's sleep. I am building them out of wood because wood is in easy abundance. I will try and get another one of these episodes as soon as possible, but with TwitchCon in advance, we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. My name has been Blind, and I'll see you in the next one.